So in the previous weeks, we have been discussing 8th canto, chapter 1 onwards, wherein we briefly saw the activities of the Manvantara Avatara during the first Manvantara period, then the sixth category of people during the first Manvantara, second Manvantara, third Manvantara, and also during the fourth Manvantara. And during that fourth Manvantara, the Manvantara Avatara was Lord Hari, and he briefly is mentioned. He protected Gajendra from the attack of crocodile. Then Parikshit Maharaj expressly is there to hear more about them. Then there was elaborate discussion about Gajendra pastime. How Gajendra entered into the forest, entered into the garden, entered into the lake, how he was enjoying with his family members. Suddenly, by the will of the providence, a crocodile attacked, and crocodile want to take the elephant deep inside the water, and elephant want to come out of the water. They were both were trying hard, and other elephants were trying to help, but they could not help. And the fight went on for thousands of years. Then some memories of his past life dawned upon him. As a result of that, he understood no one can help me. If at all, who can help me? The Supreme Lord only. Let me offer prayers unto Lord. Initially, he prayed for the protection from the crocodile. Finally, he began to pray, please protect me from the crocodile of samsara, the cycle of birth and death. So, like that. So, he offered wonderful prayers, very nice prayers, very philosophical, very insightful prayers. Then, listening to those prayers, the Supreme Lord suddenly came there. Following after him, all the devatas, rishis, gandharvas, apsaras, they all came. But Lord suddenly came, got down from the Garuda, and pulled both elephant and crocodile out of the water with using his Sudarshan Chakra, cut the neck of the crocodile. As a result of that, Gajendra was saved. Now, because Lord personally pulled the elephant out of the water by the touch of his spiritual hands, by spiritual touch, Gajendra got delivered. Giving up that elephant body, he went to Vaikunta. And similarly, the crocodile was actually a Gandharva. He was cursed by a sage to become a crocodile because he was acting like a person like that. And he resumed, he becoming freed from the curse by the Devatas or by the Rishi. He again went back and resumed his position as a Gandharva or Devata or something like that. So now, this is what we discussed until third chapter. Now in the fourth chapter, the detailed discussion about how Gajendra returns to spiritual world. The previous life of Gajendra will be explained. Who is Gajendra? How could an elephant can offer such eloquent prayers, such a wonderful philosophical prayers? What was his background? That will be explained now. The fourth chapter describes how Gajendra becomes an associate of the Lord, how the crocodile becomes a Gandharva, and as well describe the Lord's beneficial instructions for the human being. The Falashruti of this entire Gajendra Moksha pastime, they are also briefly narrated in chapter 3. Actually, sorry, it is supposed to be chapter 4. It is still one only, need to be corrected. So, we'll see these things. This chapter is small chapter, only 26 verses are there. First 6 verses talks about Lord Hari's favor to Gajendra and crocodile, Gajendra's previous life, Gajendra's going back to spiritual world, and Falashruti to all of us who are listening to this entire pastime. श्रीशुक उवाच
श्रीशुक उवाच
तदा देवर्षि गन्धर्वा
तदा देवर्षि गन्धर्वा
ब्रह्मेशाना पुरोगमा
ब्रह्मेशान पुरोगमा
मुमुचुः कुसुमासारम्
मुमुचुः कुसुमासारम्
संसन्तः कर्म तद्धरे
शंसन्ता कर्म तद्धरे
नेदुर्दुन्दुभयो दिव्या
नेदुर्दुन्दुभयो दिव्या
गन्धर्वा नन्रोतुर्जगु
गन्धर्वानन्दृतुर्जगु
ऋषयाश्चारणा सिद्धस्
ऋषयश्चारणा सिद्धास्
तुष्टुवुः पुरुषोत्तमम्
तुष्टुवो पुरुषोत्तमम्. Sri Shukadeva Goswami said, when the Lord delivered Gajendra, king of the elephants, all the demigods, sages and Gandharvas, headed by Brahma and Shiva, praised this activity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and showered flowers upon both the Lord and the Gajendra. There was beating of kettle drums in the heavenly planets. The inhabitants of Gandharvaloka began to dance and sing, while great sages and the inhabitants of Chandraloka and Siddhaloka offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purushottam.
Yeah. The Devatas, sages, Gandharvas, headed by Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, Brahmeshana, praising this activity of the Supreme Lord, began showering flowers. In the sky, kettle drums resounded and the Gandharvas danced and sang. That means Apsaras danced, Gandharvas sang. While great sages, Charanas and Siddhas offered prayers unto the Supreme Lord. So everyone is celebrating because one jiva is going back to spiritual world. That is an occasion of happiness. Whenever any jiva goes back to spiritual world, all the way up to Brahma and Shiva, Gandharvas, Apsaras, they all celebrate. This is the best festival. This is the biggest festival that all the inhabitants of the entire universe celebrates. Whenever jiva goes back to Supreme Lord. Same thing we can see here. The Gajendra is on his way to spiritual world and everyone is celebrating that the Supreme Lord descended and sent back Gajendra to spiritual world. So in that way. Then what happened to Graha? What happened to the crocodile? Yosau Graha sa Vaisadhya. Hare Krishna, anyone?
Yosau graha savai sadhya
Paramashcharya Rupadruk
param ascharya rupa druk
Mukto Devala Shapena
mukto devala shapena
Puhur Sattamaha
Gandharva sattama
Pranamya Sirasadisham
प्रणम्य शिरसाधीशम्
Uttamaslokamavvyayam
उत्तमश्लोकमव्ययम्
Aghayata Yashodhama
अगायत यशोधाम
Kirtanya Kunasatkatam.
कीर्तन्या गुणसत्कथम्. The best of the Gandharvas, King Puhu, having been cursed by Devala Muni, had become a crocodile. Now, having been delivered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he assumed a very beautiful form as a Gandharva. Understanding by whose mercy this had happened, he immediately offered his respectful obeisances with his head and began chanting prayers just suitable for the transcendental Lord, the Supreme Eternal, who is worshipped by the choicest verses.
The crocodile, being freed of Devala's curse, assumed the most astonishing form of the best of the Gandharvas. King Huhu. Who is that person? He is actually the Gandharva king, Huhu. Somehow by Devala's dissatisfaction, he was cursed to become a crocodile. Now he was freed from that curse and he resumed his original position. He offered his respects with his head and began to praise the indestructible Supreme Lord, the shelter of all good qualities, whose topics have qualities worthy of chanting. In the previous verse, we saw that Siddha Charana Vidyadharas and Rishis, they are all offering prayers. In this verse, we see that this Uhu Gandharva, resuming his original position, once again, is offering his obeisances unto Supreme Lord and also offering his prayers of gratitude because he was freed from the curse of Devala and resumed his original form. Uhu was cursed by Devala. Uhu, playing in the water with some woman, grabbed the foot of Devala and pulled it. Devala became angry and cursed him. So basically, somewhere, some unfortunate time, Devala was in the forest and nearby there is a lake. In that lake, he came to perform his Sandhya Vandan. With closed eyes, he was offering Sandhya Vandan. But nearby in the same lake, the Gandharva is playing with some ladies. In order to impress the ladies, this Gandharva went deep inside the waters and pulled the legs of the Devala sage deep inside the water. And Devala, his meditation got disturbed and he fell into the water and just he was like shouting. And the women were laughing at what's happening, seeing all these things. So then Devala became angry. Hey, what is this? You are playing with me, you are playing pranks with me just to make the ladies laugh at me, something like that, just to give fun to the ladies. So you are acting like a crocodile. Crocodile also deep inside the water silently comes and pulls the person on the bank of the lake. May you become the crocodile. Like that he cursed. But being pacified by who? So who understood? He made a grave mistake. Then he fell flat at the feet of the sage and sage requested him, please forgive me, please forgive me. Then the sage said, the Lord will free you when you attack Gajendra. So until you attack Gajendra, till then you continue as a crocodile. By the will of the providence, when you attack Gajendra, then the Lord will come and free you. The Lord is the shelter of the fame. The most famous Lord will come and deliver you. That's why his will of the Supreme Lord that the words of Devala should come true. That's why both of them were fought for 1000 years. Even though both of them were losing energy, in one sense, not crocodile not so much losing, but Gajendra was losing energy also. So still, he continued to fight for thousands of years because now the things need to be settled. All the things related to Gajendra as well as related to Uhu Gandharva need to be settled. So, as predicted by Devala, now Lord killing him, delivered him, and he resumed his position. So, one we can have one doubt. Abhi, generally, the Lord has a name in the 64 qualities of Supreme Lord. Nectar of Devotion Rupa Goswami writes that Brahma has up to 50 qualities, Lord Shiva will have 5 more qualities, and Lord Vishnu will have 5 more qualities, and Lord Krishna will have 4 more extra additional qualities. Rupa Madhurya, Leela Madhurya, Venu Madhurya, and Prema Madhurya. But those 5 qualities which Lord Vishnu possesses, one of them is Hatari Gatidayaka. Those whomsoever the Lord kills, they immediately supposed to attain liberation. Here, Lord killed crocodile and just pulled Gajendra. And Gajendra attained liberation and crocodile went back to crocodile became Gandharva. So what is this? What NOD is saying and what is happening here seems to be opposite. जिसको भगवान ने मार दिया उन्होंने देवता बन गया जिसको भगवान ने जस्ट स्पर्श किया वो तो भगवत धाम चले गए so the understanding is that all the devatas gandharvas such kind of personalities they have been appointed to take care of some responsibility for the duration of one manvantara. So during that manvantara period sometimes something good happens something bad happens whatever it is but even though if they want to go back to God in between they cannot go. They can only go after the manvantara period is over. Because in between, if they give up service, who will do that service? Because it is they chose to do that service. So they have to continue in that position, in that service, till the end of the Manvantara. Yavad adhikarikanam adhikarikatvam. Whatever responsibility is given to the representatives of the Supreme Lord, they need to complete that responsibility. Then they will be qualified to come back to Godhead. In between, if they want to excuse, that is not allowed. We can see the classical case of Indra. After Govardhan Leela pastime, Indra came and begged forgiveness. He also asked, "My dear Lord, please forgive me. Because I am sitting on the throne of Indra, I am doing all these mistakes. Enough is enough. I had initially some fascination to be Indra. Now all my fascination got completed, is over. Please relieve me from this responsibility. I want to go back to spiritual world. I don't want to stay anymore. So, because if I continue, I'll make another few more mistakes." Then Lord says, "No, don't worry. Please continue the service. Be careful. Don't do unnecessary mistakes. Be careful." Like that, Lord convinced him. Lord pacified Indra to continue that service. Same way here, he also. Same way in the 10th canto, we see that on Shivaratri day, Nanda Maharaj and all the Vrajavasis went to perform Mahashivratri festival. They were sleeping in the night, and that night they did bhajan and all. In the midnight, they were sleeping. One python came and began to swallow Nanda Maharaj. And Nanda Maharaj began to shout, and everyone came and tried to free Nanda Maharaj, but they failed. They called Krishna, Balram, Krishna, Balram. And Lord Krishna came and just by gently he touched the python with his lotus feet. Just by that touch, the python transformed into a beautiful Gandharva. Then he went back to Swarga. He was also made a mistake like this. They were with some sage, and the sage cursed him to become python. He became python, and by the touch of Lord Krishna's lotus feet, he became Gandharva. He resumed, and he had to go to Swarga, continue his service, and after the Manvantara is over, he will go back to Godhead. Same way, Nalakuvara, Manigriva, Krishna again. Narada was passing by a lake, and they were playing with the ladies. So even though Narada came, the ladies came out of the water, covered their bodies with the clothes. But these two are still in the waters without any clothes on them. So Narada Muni understood this precarious condition of these people, and just for their betterment, Narada Muni punished them to become trees. But out of compassion for them, because they are sons of Kuvera, Kuvera who is a wonderful associate of Lord Shiva and wonderful devotee of the Supreme Lord, he said, "You become trees in the courtyard of Nanda Maharaj, where 100 years later, the Supreme Lord will come and perform wonderful pastime. Just by looking at the pastime Supreme Lord, may your heart transform. And by the touch of the Supreme Lord, may you be delivered from the tree form." So they were delivered after this Damodar Leela, and they again came back to Swargaloka, where they continued their services at the sons of Kuvera. So that happens. So that's why, even though Lord killed him, even though Lord has the name Hatari Gatidayaka, whomsoever he killed, they will attain liberation. But in the case of Devatas, if they had happened to become something as a result of some curse, they have to go back and resume their service and complete their duties as long as the time is there, and then they will come back to Godhead. That's why maybe Indra or any other Devata, Gandharva or anybody, they have to continue their services till the end of the Manvantara. After the seventh Manvantara is over, when 8th Manvantara is about to start, all these wonderful Devatas, 3 crore Devatas or 3.3 crore Devatas or whatever number we may say, all these wonderful Devatas will all come back to Godhead, because they have been rendering service to the Lord for such a long time. So like that. Sometimes in between there may be some mistakes here and there, but overall 99.999% they are completely dedicated in their service to Supreme Lord. Hare Krishna. So like that.
Prabhuji, also in the case of Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyakshana, because they had to complete their curse of the taking 3 births in the material world. So even though killed by the Lord, they didn't go back immediately, although they were the residents of the spiritual planet itself.
No, actually, na, Acharyas explained that Jaya Vijaya were also there in the spiritual world. One of their expansion came down to become asuras. See, in one sense, of course, at the basic level, from the external point of view, Jaya Vijaya committed an offense and Kumaras cursed them and they have to take birth 3 times as asuras. That is there. But internally, it was the desire of Jaya and Vijaya to give pleasure to Supreme Lord in Virya Rasa. The Supreme Lord is appearing again and fighting with the asuras who are Chinni Muni, Chota Mota asuras. So Lord does not have any proper experience of Virya Rasa. So they wanted to give that Virya Rasa. So Lord orchestrated this entire event of four Kumaras coming to Vaikunta, becoming angry because they were stopped by Jai Vijay, etc. So Lord says, you please go and don't go also. Then they stayed back in Vaikunta in one form. Their expansions came down and became 3 lifetimes. If you see, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu came during Chakshusha Manvantara. So that all these pastimes happened in the Chakshusha Manvantara. Then Ravana Kumbhakarna appeared during the 24th Chaturyuga of the 7th Manvantara. And Shishupal Dantavakara came during the 28th Chaturyuga Dwapara Yuga. So there is a lot of time gap. So in between what they were doing. So
Ah.
they are again in the Vaikunta only.
Oh, so they went back, came back like that means their expansion.
Yes. But this is Acharya's right in their commentary, which is not discussed openly everywhere, because at the outward level, in order to learn a lesson that for a sadhaka, so the essence is never ever commit offense to any Vaishnava or any person. Offense leads to such a fearful situation of getting lower birth. So,
Also, I know that Brahmana's curse, like Kumara's curse, has to come true. Like they said, either you
hmm,
stay for three
hmm.
births as a layman or seven births as a devotee, like that.
Yes. I mean, they came, I'm not saying they did not come. They came down and they are also there in Vaikunta. They could expand into two forms. So like that. This Acharya say.
But Prabhuji, then that means that this what we say the not rule but the injunction that whomsoever is killed by the Lord will attain the spiritual planet.
Hmm.
That is applicable only if the means to a person means to the personality, not to the expansion of the personality. Can we derive like that?
No,
Is it
not necessarily. See, it is all like, yes, when somebody is killed by the Lord, they will supposed to attain liberation, that is there. But if they have some more responsibility to complete here, so they need to fulfill that responsibility, then they'll go back. See, going back to what it is guarantee, it's okay na. If not tomorrow, day after tomorrow, they will go. So, through time delay hoga, but they'll go.
yeah?
Like that, we have to understand.
Thank you.
सोऽनुकम्पित ईशेन
Hare Krishna. So anukampeda ishena
परिक्रम्य प्रणम्यतम्
parikramya pranamyatam
लोकस्य पश्यतो लोका
lokasya pashyato lokam
स्वमगान् मुक्तकिल्बिषः
from agan mukta kilbishaha. Having been
गजेन्द्रो
forward,
no wait one more verse गजेन्द्रो भगवत्स्पर्शाद्
Gajendro Bhagavat Sparshad
विमुक्तो ज्ञानबन्धनात्
Vimutto Jnana Bandhanat
प्राप्तो भगवतो रूपम्
Prapto Bhagavato Rupam
पीतवासाश् चतुर्भुजः
Pita Vasas Chaturbhujaha. Having been favored by the causeless mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and having regained his original form, King Huhu circumambulated the Lord and offered his obeisances. Then, in the presence of all the demigods headed by Brahma, he returned to Gandharva Loka. He had been freed of all sinful reactions. Because Gajendra, king of the elephants, had been touched directly by the hands of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was immediately freed of all material ignorance and bondage. Thus, he received the salvation of Sarupya Mukti, in which he achieved the same bodily features as the Lord, being dressed in yellow garments and possessing four hands. Hare Krishna.
Hmm. Having been favored by the Lord, King Huhu circumambulated the Lord and offered his obeisances. Then, while the Devatas watched, he returned to Gandharva Loka, freed of his sins. This is the story of Uhu. He was delivered. And then Gajendra. Because Gajendra has been touched directly by the Supreme Lord, he was freed from the bondage of ignorance and received the same bodily features as the Supreme Lord, with yellow garments and four hands. Prapto Bhagavato Rupam. He attained the form similar to that of Supreme Lord. That means he attained Sarupya Mukti. Then he went to Vaikunta. By the Lord's contact with his mind and voice, Gajendra achieved liberation from ignorance. By the Lord's touch, like a touchstone upon his physical body, he attained a spiritual form just as Dhruva did. This was because he had previously prayed for a spiritual body in the verse 8:3:19. So that was his desire. My Lord, both ho gaya. This material form, whichever material form I may get, such kind of problems are always there. Here crocodile is attacking me, some other form, something else might attack me. I don't want such a form which is subject to dualities of this world. I want eternal spiritual form like that of yours. That was his desire, and the Lord reciprocated accordingly and gave him Bhagavato Rupam, Sarupyam, with Pisa Vasasa, with yellow Pitambara dress and Chaturbhujam. These are the principal features. So he is on the way to Vaikunta, attaining the spiritual form. Just like by the touch of the Supreme Lord, Dhruva was completely spiritualized even when he was a small boy. And later on, when Vaikunta Vimana came, Bhagavatam clearly says that he did not leave behind his material body. His body transformed into spiritual form as he was climbing into aeroplane, stepping on the head of death personified. His mortal body became spiritual. It is completely transformed into spiritual form. Same way here, our Gajendra transformed into spiritual and then attained Vaikunta. And then, who is this Gajendra? How could he was able to remember such a wonderful philosophical prayers and he could attain Vaikunta? If Gajendra can attain Vaikunta, there must be some history behind him. That history is narrated in next 6 verses. Savai Purvam Abhudraja
Savai Purvam Abhudraja
Pandyo Dravida Sattamaha
Pandayo Dravida Sattamaha
Indradumna iti Kyato
Indradumna Ito Hyato
Vishnu Vrata Parayanaha.
Vishnu Vrata Parayana. Translation. This Gajendra had formerly been a Vaishnava and the king of the country known as Pandya, which is in the province of Dravida, South India. In his previous life, he was known as Indradyumna Maharaj.
Hmm. This Gajendra had formerly been a Panda king, the best king in the southern states, named Indradumna. He was dedicated to Lord Vishnu, Vishnu Vrata Prayana. In his previous life, he was a Pandya king, a king of Pandya kingdom in the Dravida area, and his name was Indradumna. He is not the same Indradumna who constructed the Jagannath Mandir. Both of them are different because this pastime is happening during the fourth Manvantara. The other in Indradumna who constructed Jagannath Mandir, who was the instrumental in the manifestation of Jagannath Daru Brahma deities. That pastime took place during the second Manvantara, Uttama Manvantara. No, Swarajitya Manvantara. So that was second, and this is fourth Manvantara. So both of them name is same, but both are different personalities. But he's a great devotee. So he was ruling the kingdom nicely, being dedicated to Supreme Lord. Maybe something like we can think of Ambarish Maharaj. Just like Ambarish Maharaj is a great devotee, he is also a great devotee king. Wonderful devotee. स एकदा स एकदाराधनकालात्मवान्
स एकदा धनकाल आत्मवान्
गृहीतमौनाव्रत ईश्वरं हरिम्
गृहीतमौनं व्रत ईश्वरं हरिम्
जटाधरस्तापस आप्लुतोच्युतम्
जटाधरासा तपसा आप्लुतप्रियुतम्
समर्चयामास कुलाचलाश्रमः
समाजयम् आसकुलाचलासरम्. Translation. Indradyumna Maharaj retired from family life and went to the Malaya hills, where he had a great small cottage for his ashram. He wore matted locks on his head and always engaged in austerities. Once, while observing a vow of silence, he was fully engaged in the worship of the Lord and absorbed in the ecstasy of love of God.
Indradyumna, living in a Malaya mountain hermitage, wore metal locks on his head and always engaged in austerities. Just like Bharata Maharaj, he ruled the kingdom for sufficient amount of time. At one point of time, making his son as the next king, he went to forest to perform Vanaprastha duties, Vanaprastha austerities, etc. Similarly, Indradyumna Maharaj also, after ruling the kingdom for sufficient amount of time, then he retired from the active kingly duties. He made his son as the next king. Then he took on Vanaprastha order and he went to the forest. Just like recently we discussed. Okay, Sunday mornings we were discussing about Prutu Maharaj. He also went to forest and performed Vanaprastha severe austerities, etc. So once, while observing a vow of silence with controlled mind, he worshipped the Lord after bathing. So every day, just like Dhruva Maharaj, he would take bath in the waters of the Madhuvana area, and then he would standing in particular asana, he would chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya mantra. Here, he has taken a Mauna Vrata. He does not want to speak to anybody and just want to meditate on the Supreme Lord's holy name. So early morning, he took bath and he began to perform tapasya, standing on the barefoot and raising his arms up and very silently chanting the holy name of the Lord, maybe Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and with a vow that he does not speak to anyone. Somehow he has taken that vow. What can be done? So, Grihita Mauna Vrata. So, all these things are happening in the Kulachala area, Malaya mountain area, Kulachala Ashrama. So, that is where the entire thing is happening. That is where he retired. He lived in a hermitage in the Malaya mountain range and then he performing all these austerities. As part of his daily routine, he was performing severe tapasya after morning Sandhya rites are completed with a vow of silence. That is the problem. That is the whole problem. यदृच्छया तत्र महायशा मुनिः
यदृच्छया तत्र महायशा मुनिः
समागमशिष्यगणैः परिश्रितः
समागमच्छिष्यगणैः परिश्रिता
तं वीक्ष्य तूष्णीम् अकृतार्हणादिकम्
तं वीक्ष्य तूष्णीमकृतार्हणादिकम्
रहस्युपासीनं ऋषेचुकोपः
रहस्युपासीनं ऋषिषु कोपः. While Indradumna Maharaj was engaged in ecstatic meditation, worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the great sage Agastya Muni arrived there, surrounded by his disciples. When the Muni saw that Maharaj Indradumna, who was sitting in a secluded place, remained silent and did not follow the etiquettes of offering him a reception, he was very angry.
Mm. The great sage Agastya arrived there. Agastya was living somewhere nearby, it seems. So long back, matlab, Agastya is such a person. He travels everywhere with his disciples, keep traveling here and there. So he happened to live in nearby area and he understood that a recently very king, a nice, wonderful devotee king came. He is performing his Vanaprastha duties, trying to please the Supreme Lord. Agastya Muni came along with his disciples to see him and to welcome him into the forest and all these things, etc. So Agastya Muni came there along with his disciples. When the sage saw Maharaj Indradumna sitting silently engaged in worship in a secluded place without offering him a reception, he became angry. So Agastya came with his disciples and he was hoping that King Indradumna will open his eyes and receive the Agastya sage and welcome him and etc. etc. But they were waiting, and king did not open his eyes and did not receive the Agastya. Agastya became little angry. Just like Parikshit Maharaj went to Shamika Rishi's ashram, hoping that Shamika Rishi will welcome him and offer him some water and food because he was hunger and thirsty. So he did not. So Parikshit Maharaj became angry and garlanded him with a dead snake. Same way here, somewhat similar way, here Agastya Muni became angry. So now, kindly
I
understand. One second. For Parikshit Maharaj, we have discussed many times that is all Lord's desire. Lord wanted Parikshit Maharaj to become an instrument in the manifestation of Bhagavatam. There we can see. Same way here also, because Indradumna Maharaj is also a wonderful devotee. The Lord wanted him to come back to spiritual world in a quickly manner. So instead of going through all these austerities, he wanted to make it fast forward, maybe. So he want to use Agastya Muni as an instrument. That's why he inspired Agastya Muni to come there, and he inspired Indradumna not to welcome him, and he inspired Agastya to curse him. So in one sense, everything is orchestrated by Supreme Lord. Same way we discussed in the case of Chitraketu Maharaj. Chitraketu Maharaj was initiated by Narada Muni. He performed tapasya chanting the Chaturvyuha mantra. In 7 days, he had the darshan of Lord Sankarsana. He offered prayer. Sankarsana blessed him to become the king of Vidyadharas. And he told him, yeah, may you continue the king of Vidyadharas for some time because that was your desire to be the king and then come back to spiritual world. And he was not coming. 1 lakh years passed. So Lord wanted to bring him back to spiritual world. And he inspired Mother Parvati to become angry for a small silly reason and to curse him to become Asura. By becoming Asura, in no time, being killed by Indra, he went back to Godhead. So when Lord want to make things fast forward, he orchestrates such things. Same way here, it is Lord inspired him to take Maunavrata. Lord also inspired Agastya to come there and become angry and curse him. So like that, we can see the entire events. Yes, Mataji.
no problem. It is answered.
Okay. तस्मा इमं शापमदादसाधुभिः
तस्मा इमं शापमदादसाधु
अयं दुरात्मा कृतबुद्धिरद्य
अयं दुरात्मा कृतबुद्धिरस्य
विप्रावमन्त विप्रावमन्त्व विशतां तमिश्रम्
विप्रावमन्ता विशतां तमिस्रम्
यथा गजस्तब्धमति स एव
यथा गजस्तब्धमति स Agastya Muni then spoke this verse against the king. This king Indradumna is not at all gentle, being low and uneducated. He has insulted a Brahmana. May he therefore enter the region of darkness and receive the dull, dumb body of an elephant.
Agastya uttered a curse against the king. Agastya became angry because he was not received by the king. So normally, sages are not so much after receiving the respect, all these things. But here he is acting like this because he was also inspired by the Supreme Lord for the fast forward of Indradumna Maharaj going back to Godhead. This person does not have proper conduct. He is degraded without intelligence. He is degraded, he is Duratma, without proper intelligence, Akruta Buddhi. He has insulted a Brahmana today, Vipra Avamanat. May he therefore enter the darkness just like an elephant with low intelligence. Vishatam Tamishram Yata Gaja Stabda Mati Sayeva. Just like elephant's intelligence is very low, may his intelligence also as low as like that of elephant. It is better for him to become an elephant. Let him become an elephant. Like that, he cursed him to become elephant. So we can say by the will of the providence. Then, so after being cursed, at least now he must have opened his mouth and begged forgiveness. Let us see if he had begged forgiveness, what happened? What correction Agastya did to the curse? Sri Shuka Uvacha.
Shukuvacha
Evam Shattvagato
evam shatvatagato pasyato
Bhagavan Drupasanugaha
bhagavanapasānugaha
Indradumnopi Rajarshir
indradamyopi rajrishi
Dishtam Tad Upadharayan
drishtam tad upadharaya
Apanna Kaunjarim Yonim
apanpunjarim yonim
Atma Smruti Vinashina Vanvinashini
atma smriti vinashinim
Hari Archananubhavena
hari archana nanubhavena
Yet Gajatvepi Anusmrutihi.
yat kachetvi api yat kachetavipi anusmriti. Translation. Sukdev Goswami continued, my dear king, after Agast Muni had thus cursed King Indradumna, the Muni left that place along with his disciples. Since the king was a devotee, he accepted Agast Muni's curse as welcome because it was the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, although in his next life he got the body of an elephant because of devotional service, he remembered how to worship and offer prayers to the Lord.
Whether he spoke out, he broke his silence and begged forgiveness or not, details are not there. But whatever it is, just like Parikshit Maharaj honorably accepted the curse pronounced by the son of Shamika Rishi Shringi. Same way here, King Indradumna honorably accepted the curse pronounced by Agastya Rishi without retaliation or without any other things. O king, after Agastya has cursed King Indradumna, the sage left that place along with his disciples. He cursed him to become elephant because he's acting like a mandabuddhi of elephant. May you become elephant. After saying that, he left. And King Indradumna, listening to the curse, he accepted the curse as his fate. So what can be done? On one side, he has taken Maunavrata. That's why he did not welcome. And other side, he has been cursed. So whatever, I have come to take shelter of his Lord's desire. So like that, he accepted. Thus, he obtained the body of an elephant, which generally destroyed the memory of the Lord. But because of devotional service, he remembered his past life. Normally, in the animal yoni, the memory is very weak, the knowledge is very less. At least in a human form, we have that ability to read Shastra and understand who we are, what is our constitutional position, etc., etc. But animals do not have such kind of intelligence. So, animal body itself is a body of low, very, very meagerly developed intelligence they have. That intelligence only for how to get food, and whatever intelligence the animals and birds and insects have is only limited to how to get food, how to make a shelter, and how to live in the company of the co-living entities, etc., etc. Basically, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. These four things only they can do. Their intelligence only developed up to do these only four things. So then above this, the intelligence is given to human beings who can contemplate, who can deliberate, and who can inquire who we are, why are we have to suffer, why we have to go through the misery in this mental existence, etc., etc. Those things we can do. That inquiry we can do. That's why Mahabharata says, na, Ahara nidra bhayamaitunam cha samanametat pashubhi naranam. Dharmo hitesho adhiko vishesho dharmena hina pashubhi samana. Dharmo hitesho adhiko vishesha. Dharma means inquiry. Inquiry into who am I, who is the Lord, what is dharma, why to follow dharma, how to follow dharma, such kind of inquiry human being can make. But animal just simply directed by their instinct. भी फूड के लिए जो करना पड़े वो करेंगे. So like that. So in spite of entering into an animal's farm, he did not lose his memory. Of course, in one sense he lost his memory, but at the right time he remembered his bhakti that he performed as king in the Dumna that we saw in the previous chapter. The king understood that it was his bad destiny. Yad means Yasya. He had a memory of his past life, even as an elephant. Not always. Normally, he was as an elephant only. He was roaming around with his family members and all. But at this crucial time, after fighting with the crocodile for 1,000 years, then he remembered his bhakti that he performed in the previous life. So he may not be completely that he was a king, and all those things maybe may not be. But that bhakti which he performed, that he remembered. That bhakti he performed, that understanding he had about the Supreme Lord, that he offered in the form of his wonderful prayers. तो जितना जरूरत है उतना याद आ गया. So like that. So when one practices bhakti, that's what Bhagavad Gita Lord Krishna says. Neha bhikramanashoti pratyavayona vidyate swalpam piyasa dharmasya trayato mahato bhayat. Just like Bharat Maharaj also, out of compassion for the deer, he kind of forgotten his bhakti activities. But when he left his body, when he got the deer body, he remembered completely. At least the Bharat Maharaj case, he remembered completely from the very beginning, even though he entered into deer body. And that's why he was not living like a deer. He was living adjacent to ashram, and he was only in the company of the ashram devotees. And uh, though he was in deer form, he was acting like a renounced sage. But here in the case of Gajendra, it may not be like that. Normally, he was a elephant only, but at the crucial time, his bhakti got came to his memory. So that's how King Indradumna became Gajendra, and with some special mercy upon him that even though he became Gajendra for a small mistake, but at a crucial time, his memory came into his rescue. So that's why he was saved. Now, Gajendra is going back to Godhead. एवं विमोक्ष गजयूतपमब्जनाभस्
एवं विमोक्षगजयूथपमब्जनाथ
तेनापि पार्षदगतिं भ्रमितेन युक्तः.
तेनापि पार्षदगतिं गमितेन युक्ता
गन्धर्वसिद्धविबुधाैरुपगीयमाना
गन्धर्वसिद्धविबुधैरुपगीयमाना
कर्माद्भुतं स्वभजभवनं गरुडासनोगात्.
कर्माद्भुतं स्वभवनं गरुडासनोगात्. Upon delivering the king of the elephants from the clutches of the crocodile and from material existence, which resembles a crocodile, the Lord awarded him the status of Sarupya Mukti. In the presence of the Gandharvas, the Siddhas, and the other demigods, who were praising the Lord for his wonderful transcendental activities, the Lord, sitting on the back of his carrier Garuda, returned to his all wonderful abode and took Gajendra with him.
Hmm. Upon delivering Gajendra from the crocodile, the Lord, whose act was praised by the Gandharva, Siddhas, Devatas, Charanas, etc., awarded him. Him means awarded King Indradumna the status of being his associate and returned with him to his astonishing abode, Vaikunta. So, Lord Vishnu, Lord Hari took King Indradumna along with him and went to Vaikunta. Vimoksha means freeing him from the crocodile. So, like that, Gajendra's story came to conclusion. This is how Lord Hari liberated Gajendra and took him to his own abode. Any questions till now? You are able to follow?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, like who suppose somebody gets some particular body, like externally, if we see, King Indradumna was in meditation and didn't even realize. Means that way, if we see, there was no mistake on his part, but still the sage acted like that and gave him curse. Or in from the other perspective, if we see that yes, the sage, they also meditate and they are also aware what happens to a person who is in samadhi. In spite of that, he took it as offense. So, and then how to understand Prabhuji, like in particular pastime, whatever is happening is orchestrated by the Lord, or it is the without orchestration of the Lord, somebody is cursing somebody like that, or it is only through the vision of acharyas we can understand.
See, every pastime we have to see in two ways. At the basic level, yes, yeah, you may say that no, I was in Maunavrata, did not notice. No, that is not that kind of excuse we cannot give. It is one's duty when somebody elder is coming, it is our responsibility to make sure that we have to receive them. Just like Indra, he was immersed in the dance performance of Apsaras and did not notice the arrival of Brihaspati. He had to pay a huge price for that. So you can't say, no, I did not notice. No, that is not. When you are in a particular position, you need to be vigilant. That is the minimum expected courtesy. So that is a to learn lesson to safeguard ourselves and because we are practicing sadhana. So sadhana means we need to be careful, we need to be attentive. So this is from that point of view we can get the lesson. Because he became inattentive and he did not notice the arrival of the sage. The sage came because he was practicing Maunavrata, so he did not want to disturb his Maunavrata and did not speak and welcome. So like both possibilities are there. One is he did not notice. Second thing he noticed but he did not respond because he was practicing Maunavrata. He was in dilemma whether to yes or no, do respond or not respond. So but whatever it is, because the person who came is a big person. So whatever had to happen happened. So then, on the higher level, it is all Lord is orchestrating the entire event. Even though, as you said, Agastya Muni understands. He could have known that. I mean, he has taken a Mauna Vrata, that's why he does not want to speak. So he could have silently left away. But Agastya Muni becoming angry is the desire of the Supreme Lord. Lord I used Agastya Muni as an instrument to bring back Indradumna to spiritual world as quickly as possible. So like that. So both ways we can see, but at the basic level, we have to see the outwardly how things are happening. Mm, As time progresses, we can see through the Acharya's commentary that why things are happening the way they are happening. So, so because at the beginning time we need to understand, we should be careful, we need to follow each and every rules and regulation of the sadhana. That is very much required. But as one progresses, we can see how Lord is so eager to take his devotees back home, back to Godhead. That will increase one's hope, one's faith that Lord will take me back home, back to Godhead. Not after a long time, but as quickly as possible. So like that we have to understand.
Prabhuji, and I have one more doubt. I don't know, I may be wrong in asking this, but like, why does Lord devises such methods where his devotees had to go undergo a lot of pain first to return back to him? Like, and suppose if a person is not a devotee, or he is a devotee but he has deviated from his devotion, and then Lord means uh, devises such method, still it is understandable from the tiny brain, whatever, as a sadhaka I have, but one he is already immersed in sadhana, already is concentrating on the Lord, but still he has to undergo a pain of being thousands of years in the body of elephant. So how we should understand this? Like, if Lord wants, he can without pain also take somebody back.
See, Lord can do anything, but generally will not do. He will do the things respecting the laws of the material world. There are two options. If a person has to go through 100 units of pain, whether we want to get 100 units of pain over 100 days, every day one unit, or one day all 100 units, which one we choose?
Which one?
Which one we try to choose? We want little pain for long time, or more pain at one go and then quickly go back to Godhead.
Yeah, the second option is better, but it carries the risk of so much pain.
Yeah, I mean, it is subjective. We cannot generalize this. But in any
Yeah.
case, so like that we can see. Maybe because of something they have to go through. Even Chitraketu Maharaj, he became Rudrasura. He had to become Asura and he had to fight and he has to attain a ghastly death. Somebody might have said, no, no, why he has to get a ghastly death? He could have been liberated as a nice king only. Just like Dhruva Maharaj went back to Godhead, Prithu Maharaj went back to Godhead and the same as a kingly person only. They're likely to have won. It is subjective thing. For every person, things will happen in different way. So it happened fast and they went back quickly, one battle and die and go back to Godhead instead of waiting for a long time. So like that we can take.
Prabhuji, does karma plays any part in this?
And that's what I'm saying. Na? The laws of material world means karma. Even though Lord can nullify all of that and take, but still Lord respects the rules and regulations of this world. He says, yes, if it is one's karma to receive some pain here and there, etc., etc., take it, go through it, and then come back. That means, mm, if for no reason, there no need to nullify everything altogether. So, like that, we can see. Maybe nullifying is possible for some people at some time, but not necessarily for everyone. For others, by their going through the reactions and they nullify that karma and then go back to Godhead. So that either Lord may give gradual pain or Lord may give one at one go lot of pain and then deliver them. Like the Bhishma case, you see, he had to be in the Tampashaya for more than 30 days, being pierced by so many arrows. More than 30 days, can. He was almost 60 days in the battlefield. First 10 days, chodega to 50 days almost is in the Apashaya only. 50 din. He had to go to intense pain for 50 days, being a devotee of Supreme, being Mahajan.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Other devotees, anyone has any question?
No problem. No problem. We're fine.
Okay. So now the last verses talks about the Falashruti. Etan Maharaj. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Etan Maharaj. Saverito Maya.
Etan Maharaja Kaverito Maya
Krishnanubhavo Gajaraja Mokshanam.
Krishno Anubhavo Gajaraja Mokshanam
Swargyam Yashasyam Kalikalmashapaham.
Swargam Yasasyam Kalikalmashapam
Dusvapnanasham Kuruvarya Shunvatam.
Dush Dushsapnanasham Kuruvarya Srinivasam
Yatanu
Chintatam
Yatanukirtayante tat
Yathanu Kirtayante
Shreyas Kamadvijataya.
Shreyasmamadivajyate
Suchaya Pratar Uttaya.
Suchaya Prata Uttaya
Dusvapnadi Upashantaye.
Dusvapnadi Upasantaye
Idamaha Hare Prito
Idam Hari Prito
Gajendram Kurusattama.
Gajendram Kuru Sattamam
Shunvatam Sarvabhutanam.
Simvatam Sarvabhutanam
Sarvabhutamayo Vibhu.
Sarvabhutamayo Vibhu. Translation. My dear King Parikshit, I have now described the wonderful power of king as displayed when the Lord delivered the king of the elephants, O best of the Kuru dynasty. Those who hear this narration become fit to be promoted to the higher planetary system. Simply because of hearing this narration, they gain a reputation as devotees. They are unaffected by the contamination of Kali Yuga, and they never see bad dreams. Therefore, after getting up from the bed in the morning, those who desire their own welfare, especially the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and in particular the Brahman Vaishnavas, should chant this narration as it is without deviation to counteract the troubles of bad dreams. O best of Kuru dynasty, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the super soul of everyone, being thus pleased, addressed Gajendra in the presence of everyone there. He spoke the following blessings.
O king, best of the Kurus, I have described to you the actions of Lord concerning the deliverance of Gajendra. Those who hear this story again attain Swarga, fame, destruction of the impurities of Kali Yuga, and destruction of bad dreams. Therefore, after rising from bed in the morning, those who desire their own welfare, the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, after purifying themselves, should chant this narration as it is, without deviation, to counteract the troubles of bad dreams. O best of the Kuru dynasty, the Supreme Lord, the super soul of everyone, being pleased, spoke to Gajendra as follows, while everyone listened. So before they would depart, they could depart before Lord Vishnu, Lord Hare could depart along with Gajendra. When everyone was there, Brahma, Shiva, and all the devatas were there. In front of everyone, while everyone listening, Lord is speaking some interesting things. From text number 724, these are the Lord's words. He was speaking to Gajendra. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha
श्रीभगवानुवाच
Emam Tvam Chasharaschedam
ये मां त्वां च सरश्चेदं
Girikandara Kananam
गिरिकन्दरकाननं
वेत्रकीचकवेणूनां
वेत्रकीचकवेणूनां
गुल्मलाने सुरपादपान्
गुल्मानि सुरपादपान्
शृङ्गानीमानि दिष्ण्यानि
शृङ्गाणि मानि धिष्ण्यानि
ब्रह्मणो मे शिवस्य च
ब्रह्मणो मे शिवस्य च
क्षीरोदं मे प्रियं धाम
क्षीरोदं मे प्रियं धाम
श्वेतद्वीपं च भास्वरम्
श्वेतद्वीपं च भास्वरम्
श्रीवत्सं कौस्तुभं मालां
श्रीवत्सं कौस्तुभं मालां
गदां कौमोदकीं मम
गदां कौमोदकीं मम
सुदर्शनं पञ्चजन्यं
दर्शनं पाञ्चजन्यं
सुपर्णं पतगेश्वरम्
सुपर्णं पतगेश्वरम्
शेषं तमत्कलां सूक्ष्मां
शेषं च मत्कलां सूक्ष्मां
श्रियं देवीं मदाश्रयाम्
श्रियं देवीं मदाश्रयाम्
ब्रह्माणं नारदं ऋषिं
ब्रह्माणं नारदं ऋषिं
भवं प्ररादमेव च
भवं प्रह्लादमेव च
मत्स्य कूर्मावराहाद्यैर्
मत्स्यकूर्म वराहाद्य
अवतारै कृतानि मे
अवतारै कृतानि मे
कर्माणि अनन्तपुण्यानि
कर्माणि अनन्तपुण्यानि
सूर्यं सोमं हुताशनम्
सूर्यं सोमं हुताशनम्
प्रणवं सत्यम् अव्यक्तम्
प्रणवं सत्यम् अव्यक्तम्
को विप्रान् धर्ममव्ययम्
विप्रान् धर्ममव्ययम्
दाक्षायणीर्धर्मपत्नी
दाक्षायणी धर्मपत्नी
सोमयोरपि
सोमकश्यपयोरपि
गङ्गां सरस्वतीं नन्दां
गङ्गां सरस्वतीं नन्दां
कालिन्दीं सितवारणम्
कालिन्दीं सितवारणम्
ध्रुवं ब्रह्म ऋषिं सप्त
ध्रुवं ब्रह्म ऋषिं सप्त
पुण्यश्लोकांश मानवान्
पुण्यश्लोकांश्च मानवान्
उत्थायापररात्रान्ते
उत्थाय पररात्रान्ते
प्रयत्न प्र प्रयता सुसमाहिता
प्रयता सुसमाहिता
स्मरन्ति मम रूपाणि
स्मरन्ति मम रूपाणि
मुच्यन्ते ते अंहसोऽखिलात्
मुच्यन्ते ते हसोऽखिलाः. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, freed from all sinful reactions are those who rise from bed at the end of night, early in the morning, and fully concentrate their minds with great attention upon my form, your form, this lake, this mountain, the caves, the gardens, the cane plants, the bamboo plants, the celestial trees, the residential quarters of me, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, the three peaks of Tripura mountain, made of gold, silver, and iron, my very pleasing abode, the ocean of milk, the white island Shvetadipa, which is always brilliant with spiritual rays, my mark of Srivatsa, the Kaustubha gem, my Vaijayanti garland, my club Kaumodaki, my Sudarshana disc and Panchajanya council, my bearer Garuda, the king of the birds, my bed Sheshanaga, my expansion of energy, the goddess of fortune, Lord Brahma, Narad Muni, Lord Shiva, Prahlada, my incarnations like Matsya, Kurma, and Varaha, my unlimited, all auspicious activities which yield piety to he who hears them, the sun, the moon, fire, the mantra Omkara, the absolute truth, the total material energy, the cows and Brahmanas, devotional service, the wives of Soma and Kashyapa, who are all daughters of King Daksha, the rivers Ganga, Saraswati, Nanda, and Yamuna, that is Kalindi, the elephant Airavata, Dhruva Maharaj, the seven Rishi, and the pious human beings. Hare Krishna Guruji.
The Lord said, freed from all sinful reactions are those who rise from bed at the end of the night and fully concentrate their minds with great attention upon my farm, your farm, this lake, this mountain, the caves, gardens, cane plants, bamboo plants, celestial trees, my abode, the abodes of Brahma and Shiva, three peaks of Trikuta mountain, the ocean of milk, Shvetadvipa, which is always brilliant with spiritual rays, Srivasta, Kaustubhajam, my garland, my club named Kaumodaki, my Sudarshan Chakra, Panchajanya Kanshal, my bearer named Garuda, the king of the birds, and Sheshanaga, my expansion of energy, the goddess of fortune, who takes shelter of me, Brahma, Narada Muni, Shiva, Prahlada, the pure unlimited activities performed by Matsya, Kurma, and Varaha, the sun, the moon, fire, the mantra Omkara, the absolute truth, the material energy, the cows and the Brahmanas, devotional service, the wives of Soma and Kashyapa, who are all daughters of King Daksha. Hmm? Soma married 27 daughters of Daksha, Kashyapa married 17 daughters of Daksha. The rivers Ganga, Saraswati, Nanda, and Yamuna, the elephant Airavata, the Indra's elephant, Dhruva Maharaj, the seven sages, and the pious human beings. So basically, whoever remembers all the things connected to Gajendra Moksha pastime and also all the details connected to other palms of the Lord, anything in relation to Lord, if somebody remembers it early in the morning after getting up from the bed, after completing morning ablutions, such people are freed from all sinful reactions. This is the result. If we remember any pastime of the Lord, Supreme Lord, in any avatara, early in the morning, as soon as we get up, and everything connected to that pastime, we are freed from all sinful reactions. So, not only restricted to Gajendra pastime, but any pastime in that sense. One should remember all these items. Avyaktam means Prakriti. Avyayam Dharmam means Bhakti. The daughters of Daksha were the wives of Soma and Kashyapa. Sita Varanam means Airavata, white elephant. Varanam means elephant, Sita means white. White elephant is Airata. So, like this. So, this is one of the Lord says that if anybody remembers early in the morning our pastime complete with all details, with that lake, river, mountains, and personalities, elephant, crocodile, water, everything. So, they will attain freedom from contamination, freedom from ignorance. ఏ మాం స్తువంతి అనేనాంగా
Ye mam stuvantyanenanga
ప్రతిబుద్ధ్యా నిషాత్యతే
प्रतिबुद्ध्य निशात्यये
తేషాం ప్రాణాత్యయే చాహం
तेषां प्राणात्यये चाहं
దదామి విప్లుతాం గతిం.
Dadami Vipulam Gatim. My dear devotees, unto those who rise from bed at the end of night and offer me the prayers offered by you, I give an eternal residence in the spiritual world at the end of their lives.
Hmm. O king, I give an eternal residence in the spiritual world at the end of their lives to persons who rise from bed at the end of the night and offer me the prayers offered by you. So first of all, the previous set of verses said that whoever remembers all the things connected to this pastime, they will become freed from all sinful reactions. Now, if anybody offers the prayers offered by Gajendra early in the morning after getting up from bed, they will definitely attain Vaikunta just like Gajendra attained Vaikunta, but not immediately at the end of their lifespan. Whatever is still pending in their journey, when that is over, then they'll come back to spiritual world. So these are the words, and this is the blessing given by Lord Vishnu himself. Especially Gajendra Moksha pastime and Gajendra's prayers or any other pastime and prayer control that prayer that pastime. If anybody offers early in the morning for the entire life, such a person definitely will go back to Godhead without any fail. This is the understanding. So Parikshit Maharaj must have heard about it some time back. That's why now you want to know everything in detail from Sukadeva Goswami. That's why he asked, please tell me in detail this pastime of Gajendra. This is very special pastime. Like that he requested in the beginning. Sri Shuka Uvacha
Shri Shukavacha
इति आदिश्य ऋषिकेशः
Iti Adisha Rishikesha
प्रात्माया जलजोत्तमम्
Radha Yama Jagatotama Uttamam
हर्षयन् विबुधानीकम्
Harshayan Vibudhanikam
आरुरोहाकघाधिपम्
Aruroha Kadhadipam. Sukdev Goswami continued, after giving this instruction, the Lord, who is known as Rishikesh, buggled with his Panchajanya function, in this way pleasing all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma. Then he mounted the back of his courier, Garuda. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 8th canto, 4th chapter of the Bhagavatam, entitled Gajendra Returns to the Spiritual.
In the 13th verse, it is said that Lord took Gajendra along with him to spiritual world. But before leaving, he spoke few things to Gajendra. They are mentioned now. So now, after speaking these things to Gajendra, while everyone listening, he sat on the Garuda, blowing his conch shell, taking Gajendra along with him, went back to Godhead. Thus, this pastime is completed. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, what are the verses which have to be recited?
All
Is
the
the whole
prayers,
Gajendra prayers?
Gajendra's prayers, yes, the entire section of the prayers. I
Thank,
think 29 verses are there, I suppose. Third chapter, 1 to 20, whatever prayers are there, that entire section.
thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, whatever is been said now that in the morning when one gets up and remembers all these things. So
Mhm.
that is equal to or equivalent to somebody getting up in the morning and chanting Hare Krishna Maha. It's for the devotees. It is that injunction is more
See,
appropriate.
Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is also there, and this also can be done. Just like every day morning we have Bhagavatam class.
Yeah.
So you can say this is Bhagavatam class. Every day one should have Gajendra Moksha Bhagavatam class.
Okay.
Mhm.
Or while chanting itself, one can just remember. This is the remembrance, na Prabhu. So it is
There is
advised.
chanting of the prayers also is there, na?
Oh,
The remembrance only removes the sinful reactions. but chanting the prayers will take one. See one thing, I told this point many times also. It is not simply hearing. It is not simply listening or hearing or reading. It's all about what we hear, what we read, what we speak. We need to practice. Then the result will come. That is the intention of Falashruti. When Falashruti said that those who hear the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, those who hear the pastime of Prithu Maharaj, those who hear the pastime of Gajendra will go back to God. No, not like that. Not simply listening. See, when if we every day recite the prayers of Gajendra, what Gajendra is offering prayers? Is offering prayers, please take me out of this material world. By saying it again and again, our attachment to this material world should go away, and our inclination to go to spiritual should increase. And whatever is required for that, we should be able to do it day to day practices. Then definitely the result will come. It is not simply a lip service or ear service. It is actually putting the words into action. When we hear or read or speak the words again and again, at least intelligent person should put all the meaning of the words into the action. Then the result definitely will come. This is my understanding. I am not denying the capacity of hearing. Just by hearing also one may get the result. But the best result will be obtained when we perform the activities, what we hear, what we read, what we speak. So in that way.
Okay, bro. Thank you.
So like that, we have seen the first Manvantara, second Manvantara, third Manvantara, fourth Manvantara. Now in chapter 5, we will see fifth Manvantara and sixth Manvantara also. Sixth Manvantara will begin, it will continue for a long time. So till the middle of the eighth canto, the sixth Manvantara will continue, and in the second half, the seventh Manvantara will begin. The fifth chapter describes the prayers of the Devatas after they lost power through the curse of Durvasa in relation to the sixth Manvantara Avatara, Lord Ajita. So, like that. But first a few verses talks about the fifth Manvantara. Then there is a discussion about sixth Manvantara. The fifth Manvantara is described in the first 6 verses. Then next 4, 5 verses, sixth Manvantara is described. In that, Sukadeva Goswami speaks about wonderful activity, Samudra Manthan. Then Parishit Maharaj says, I want to hear in detail why Samudra Manthan took place, etc. As a result of that inquiry, the discussion goes all the way up to 12th chapter, I think. Until 12th chapter, the Samudra Manthan episode will be narrated, starting from 5th chapter onwards. So like that. Sri Shuka Uvacha.
श्रीशुक उवाच
राजन् उदितमेतत्ते
राजन् उदितमेतत्ते
हरे कर्मागनाशनम्
हरे कर्माघनाशनम्
गजेन्द्रमोक्षणं पुण्यम्
गजेन्द्रमोक्षणम् पुण्यम्
रैवतं तु अन्तरं शृणु.
रैवतम् तु अन्तरम् शृणु. Shukdev Goswami said, O king, I have described to you the pure story of the deliverance of Gajendra, which destroys sin. Now please listen as I describe Raivata Manu.
So till now, he was talking about the fourth Manvantara, Tamasa Manvantara. The Manvantara Avatara was Lord Hari and he delivered Gajendra. That pastime is over. Now I will describe the fifth Manvantara, which is taken care by Raivata. That's why it is called Raivata Manu or Raivata Manvantara period. Panchamo Raivato Nama
Panchamo Daivato Nama
Manustamasa Sodaraha
Manustamasa Shodaraha
Bali Bali Vindhyadayastasya
Bali Vindhyadesatasya
Suta Arjuna Purvaka
Sutta Arjuna Purvaka
Vibhur Indra Suragana
Vidurindra Suragana
Rajan Bhutarayadaya
Rajan Bhutane Yadaya
Hiranyaroma Vedashira
Hiranya Roma Vedasira
Urdhabhavadayo Dvija.
Urdhavadayo Adayo Dvija. The brother of Tamasa Manu was the fifth Manu, named Raivata. His sons were headed by Arjuna, Bali, and Vindhya. O king, in the millennium of Raivata Manu, the king of heaven was known as Vibhu. Among the demigods were the Bhutaryas, and among the seven Brahmanas who occupied the seven planets were Hiranya, Aroma, Vedashra, and Udharvabhau.
Hmm. The sixth people during each Manvantara are being described from the first chapter onwards. Now the sixth people of the fifth Manvantara are described. So the younger brother of Tamasa is Raivata, and Raivata became the fifth Manu. Because Prevrata had two wives, through one wife he got three sons, Uttama, Tamasa, Raivata. So Uttama became the third Manu, Tamasa became the fourth Manu, Raivata became the fifth Manu. And his sons were headed by Arjuna. So Manu ruled for some time during that Manvantara period. Then afterwards, his sons and their sons are ruled. So his first son is mentioned as his first initial his direct sons are Arjuna, Bali, and Vindhya. And then during this Raivata Manvantara period, Indra was Vibhu. Devatas were Bhutarayas. And among the Saptarushi, three of their names are mentioned: Hiranyaroma, Vedashira, and Urdhabahu. And four more sages also are there, but their names are not mentioned. So out of six, five people are mentioned. One is Manu, Manuputras, Sureshwara, Suragana, Saptarushi, and Manvantara Avatara. So in these two verses, five people are mentioned. In the next two verses, the Manvantara Avatara will be mentioned. पत्नी विकुंठा शुभ्रस्य
पत्नी विकुंठा शुभ्रस्य
वैकुंठै सुरसत्तमै
वैकुंठे सुरसत्तमै
तयो स्वकलया जज्ञे
तयो स्वकलया जज्ञे
वैकुंठो भगवान् स्वयं.
वैकुंठो भगवान् स्वयं. From the combination of Subhra and his wife Vaikunta, there appeared the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vaikunta, along with demigods who were his personal plenary expansion.
So now the Manvantara Avatara details are mentioned. His parents' names are Vikunta and Shubhra. Shubhra is the husband and Vikunta is the wife, and they were married and they had a son. The son of Mother Vikunta is Vaikunta, just like Mother Kunti's sons are known as Kaunteya, Pruta, Partha, Pandu, Pandavas or Pandava, something like that. So Vikunta's son is Vaikunta. And they also had children who became Devatas, who are known as Vaikuntas, who are Lord's expansions. So basically, the Manvantara Avatara during the Manvantara period, during the fifth Manvantara period is Lord Vaikunta. His parents are Shubhra and Vikunta. Vaikuntah kalpito yena
वैकुण्ठः कल्पितो येन
loko loka namaskritah
लोको लोकनमस्कृता
ramaya prartha partha manena
रमया प्रार्थना
devya tatpriya kamyaya.
देव्या तत्प्रभामया. Just to please the goddess of fortune, the supreme personality of Godhead, Vaikunta, at her request, created another Vaikunta planet, which is worshipped by everyone.
Ramaya Partyamanena. So he was born, eventually married to Rama Devi, matlab Lakshmi Devi, and being requested by Mother Lakshmi, Tat Priya Kamyaya, being desired by her, the Lord manifested Vaikunta, the abode Vaikunta, which is worshipped by one and all. Just to please the goddess of fortune, Lord Vaikunta, at her request, created the Vaikunta planet, which is worshipped by everyone. Just as the Lord's appearance is called a birth, so the appearance of Lord's abode is called creating a planet. So creation means we may say that it was not existing before, he just created it, he newly manufactured, something like that we may say. But it is not like that. Just like Lord eternally exists, Lord's abode also eternally exists. The Lord's appearance, we call it as Lord's birth. Similarly, the appearance of the Vaikunta is called creation of Vaikunta. The Vaikunta is eternally existing in the spiritual world. Since Lord came into this material world to perform his Manvantara Leela for a Manvantara duration, so he brought his Vaikunta abode also from the spiritual to material world. That is considered to be the creation. But it is not created, it is just manifested, it just came from the spiritual. Just like Lord came, the Vaikunta abode also came from the spiritual world. It is not a material creation. Since the Lord and his abode are both eternal, anything created in the material world is time bound. You may create now, but it will be destroyed after some time. It cannot exist eternally. But whether the Lord or Lord's abodes are eternal, so you can neither create nor destroy. So it is always there. It will appear and disappear only. They are described similarly. The Lord and his abode are similarly, with the intention of saying that they are eternal. Kramasandarbha Jiva Goswami says, this Vaikunta abode, the Vaikunta abode of the son of Vaikunta is the same as the virginal like Vaikunta, beyond the 8 coverings of the universe seen by Brahma before he created the living entities, as described in the second canto. Second canto, 9th chapter, Lord Brahma, when he was not able to understand who is he, where from he came, where from the lotus came, etc., etc., he heard 2 words, Pa and Pa. Then he performed tapasya for 1000 years, I suppose 1000 celestial years. Then he had given the darshan of Mahavaikunta. He had the wonderful darshan of Vaikunta abode, and later on that Vaikunta Lord also made his residence inside the material world, just above Satyaloka. Because Lord Brahma was above the lotus flower, there he gave darshan, and Brahma requested, my dear Lord, please stay here and accept my worship. And Lord agreed to stay there. Since then, a Vaikunta abode has permanently manifested just above Satyaloka. For every Manvantara duration, the corresponding Manvantara avatara stays in this Vaikunta. Now, the 5th Manvantara avatara just appeared, and for his residence just after his marriage, he appeared and he grew up to youth and he got married to Rama Devi. They need a home. Then he manifested, he invited the spiritual abode to be situated just above Satyaloka. So it is here the Manvantara avatara resides for every Manvantara, whether it was Lord Hari or before that Lord Yajna or now Lord Vaikunta, in the future Lord Vijayajita. Currently, during the 7th Manvantara, whether it is Lord Vamana, they are all staying in this Mahavaikuntha, which is non-different from the Vaikunta in the Paravyoma. But currently, it is situated just above Satyaloka within our universe. So that is the understanding. And this Vaikunta abode is the residence of the Manvantara Avatara. And there is another Vaikunta abode in the Dhruvaloka. Within Dhruvaloka, there is a milk ocean known as Shirasagara. In that milk ocean, there is an island known as Shvetadipa. In that Shvetadipa, there is Vaikunta abode. That is the abode of the Gunavatara or the third Purusha Avatara, who is known as Shuradakshaya Vishnu. He stays there in that abode. And this is above Satyaloka. Here Manvantara Avatara resides. So like that.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hmm.
Prabhuji, Lord stays in the material world by bringing his abode for the
Yes.
upliftment of the fallen souls. Means he decides to stay here also for the jivas like that.
Yes, yes. Garbhodaksha Vishnu is inside the universe. Kshirodaksha Vishnu is inside the universe. Same way, Manvantara Avatar also inside the universe. For one Manvantara Vishnu will be there. Afterwards, he will go back to his Paravyoma, Vaikunta.
So when we say that Lord is more keen about taking particular jiva back to his abode,
Hmm.
so those means these avatars or these incarnation like Pusha Avtara in Dhruvaloka or the Manvantara avatars in the Vaikunta above Satyaloka, they look after these things that which jiva will go back, and whether they go back to the spiritual world really, or these vaikunthas which are within the material beings.
Sripad Ramanujarya mentions that, for example, Gajendra's case. Gajendra, Lord Hari, who was the Manvantara Avatara residing in this Vaikunta, he came and he took Gajendra along with him. That means King Indradumna. So King Indradumna stays with along with Lord Hari in this Mahavaikunta above Satyaloka till the end of the fourth Manvantara. After that, when Lord Hari was going back to Paravyama, he will take all such devotees who were delivered during that Manvantara along with him. Sri Ramanujara says that whoever is delivered during that entire Manvantara period, they will go to Manvantara Avatara, where he is staying that Mahavaikuntha. At the end of that, they will go along with that Lord to spiritual world. On. In the case of Dhruva, he worshipped the Purusha Avatara, the third Purusha Avatara, Kshirodaksha Vishnu. So Kshirodaksha Vishnu appeared to him, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu gave his own abode, the where he was staying to Dhruva Maharaj. As a result of that, that abode became known as Dhruva Loka now. Now both Dhruva Maharaj and Kshirodaksha Vishnu staying in the same place. But Kshirodaksha Vishnu stays for the entire day of Brahma. So Dhruva Maharaj is also staying there for the entire day of Brahma and serving the Lord. Then, after the day is over, then both of them will go to Paravyoma. So Sri Vaishnava say that those who go to Kshirodaksha Vishnu, they will stay with the Lord, serving the Lord here for the entire day of Brahma. Then at the end of the day of Brahma, they'll go to spiritual world. And those who go to Manvantara Avatara, the Lord Vishnu, who are in the present Avatara, they'll go there, and along with that Lord, they'll go back to Godhead. Next, if somebody is a devotee of Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, Lord Narasimha, specific avatars or Leela avatars are there. So they will go to that avatara wherever he is performing pastimes somewhere in the material creation. They will take part in that Leela. Once Lord winds up that Leela, and Lord takes all such devotees along with him to Paravyoma. So this is how a kind of glimpse is given by Sripada Ramanujacharya. What happens?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Amadj.
So the Vaikunta we are talking in the material world is the where Shirodaksha Vishnu resides, right? Which
No, no,
is
no, no.
adjacent to
No, 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 no. Shirodaksha Vishnu resides in Shvetadipa, that is in Dhruvaloka.
Shwetadeepa. Yeah,
That
but
we are not talking about him. I spoke about it in connection to Dhruva Maharaj.
but then where is
Dhruva Maharaj is
because
staying there.
but we talked about Vaikunta within the material world above Satyalok. Where is in the
Ah,
Goloka chart we don't see that.
in Golok chart you don't see that, but when we present cosmology presentation, we describe all these things. This is just above Satyaloka. So if you
Above
remember, the
Satyalok.
entire universe will be there, na, the spherical universe, Satyaloka somewhere
Yes,
above, and between
yes.
Satyaloka and the universal shell, wherever that empty space is, that is where this Mahavaikunta is there. You know Satyaloka, where in that
Yes,
Goloka
yes.
chart,
Yeah,
Satyaloka.
yeah, yeah.
Above
Yeah.
Satyaloka and before the earth layer of the universal shell
Clear.
begins, the in between
Okay.
open space, this Mahavaikunta is there.
Clear. Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you
So
very
there
much.
they have not shown, but here we can clearly understand from the Acharya's commentaries.
Prabhuji, and like in Dhruvaloka, whichever devotees go, they serve the Lord till the day of the Brahma gets over. And those
Yes,
who
yes.
do the Vaikunta, which is above Satyaloka,
Hmm.
there the Manvantar Avatara will stay till the end of the particular reign of a Manu.
Yes.
And At the end of that, they will go back, and that time those devotees will go back like that. Na?
Yes, 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 yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Because ultimately one need to serve the Lord. Lord is already here. Serve him here only. The same service will continue even when go to Paravayama also. So there is no difference in that service.
Yes. Lord. Thank
Hmm.
you so much for this detailed explanation.
तस्यानुभाव कथितो
तस्य
तस्यानुभाव कथितो
गुणाश्च परमोदया
गुणाश्च परमोदया
भौमां रेणुं स विममे
भौमान् रेणुन् सविममे
यो विष्णोर्वर्णयेद् गुणान्.
यो विष्णुर्वर्णयेत् गुणान्. Although the great activities and transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's various incarnations are wonderfully described, sometimes we are unable to understand them. Yet everything is possible for Lord Vishnu. If one could count the atoms of the universe, then he could count the qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But no one can count the atoms of the universe, nor can anyone count the transcendental qualities of the Supreme God.
The activities and the most glorious qualities of Lord Vaikunta or the Vaikunta abode have already been described. Where in the second canto 9th chapter and third canto 15th chapter, the Kumaras entering into Vaikunta with the intention to have darshan of Lord Vishnu. That also happened in the Mahavaikunta, just above Satyaloka only. So these details are already mentioned, so I don't want to mention once again like that. Sukadeva Goswami still in second canto he mentioned, fifth canto also, third canto also he mentioned. A mortal who succeeds in describing the qualities of Lord Vishnu can count the particles of dust on earth. So Vaikunta was described in second canto 2.9 and third canto 3.15. Its qualities are such things as fondness for the Vedas and Brahmanas. So basically, one who can describe the wonderful qualities of the Lord had the capacity to count the number of dust particles on the entire Bhumandala. So that means basically Lord's qualities are so much very difficult to describe everything in detail. And Sukadeva Goswami does not want to spend time on repeating the same things again. He already briefly mentioned in the past, second canto, third canto. Now he does not want to tell about it anymore. He want to move forward. So like that. So till now we talked about fifth Manvantara. So very briefly, this Vaikunta which was manifested by Lord Vaikunta. So there is wonderful description. We can discuss about it for long hours also. But Sukadeva Goswami does not want to spend any time more on that. We very quickly went to sixth Manvantara description. षष्ठश्च चक्षुषा पुत्रस्
श्रेष्ठश्च चक्षुपुत्रस्
चाक्षुषो नाम वै मनुः
चाक्षुषो नाम वै मनो
पूरुष सुद्युम्ना
पुरुष सुद्युम्ना
प्रमुखा चाक्षुषात्मजा.
प्रमुखाश्चक्षुषात्मजा. The son of Chakshu, known as Chakshusha, with the sixth Manu, he had many sons, headed by Puru, Purusha, and Sadyumna.
So now the six people of the sixth Manvantara are mentioned. The son of Chakshush, the great grandson of Dhruva, known as Chakshusha, was the sixth Manu. He had many sons, headed by Puru, Purusha, and Sudyumna. If you remember fourth canto, in the fourth canto, the lineage of Dhruva Maharaj was mentioned. So Dhruva married two wives, Ila and one is Brahmi, other one is Swaraviti or something like that. So one wife gave birth to one daughter, one son. That son was Utkala. The other wife gave birth to two sons. One is Vastara, another son name I don't remember. So Vastara became the next king. So after Dhruva the next king is Vastara. So Vastara married Swarviti and he gave birth to six sons. So of the six sons, Pushparna was the eldest, and Pushparna had two sons, Prabha and Dosha. And Prabha and Dosha in turn they have three sons each. And Dosha had a son, Vyushta, something like that. And Vyushta's son is Chakshush, and Chakshush's son is Chakshusha. Just like some time back only we discussed Vikunta and Vaikunta, like the Chakshush, Chakshusha. So Chakshusha became the sixth Manu. He was kind of great grandson of Dhruva Maharaj. So he became the sixth Manu. And his sons Puru, Purusha, and Sudumna were the successive rulers during the sixth Manvantara period. So Manuputras are mentioned. Then Indra and Devatas and Saptarishis are mentioned in the next verse. Indro mantradumastatra
Indro mantradrumastatra
devapyadadayo gana
deva apyadayo gana
munayastatra vairajan
munayastatra vairajan
avishmad virakadayah.
avishmat Jakadaya. During the reign of Chakshusamanu, the king of heaven was known as Mantradruma. Among the demigods were the Apyas, and among the great sages were Avishman and Viraka.
Indra was Mantradumna and Devatas were Apyas and the Saptarishis were Avishman, Vikara and others. Out of seven, only two names are mentioned, other five names are not mentioned here. So who are all there? Manu, Manuputras, Sureshwara, Suragana and Rushi, Saptarishis. The sixth one is Manvantara Avatara. So who was the Manvantara Avatara during the sixth Manvantara period? Tatrapi Deva Sambhutyam. Yeah, anyone can decide. Tatrapi Deva Sambhutyam.
Tatrapi Deva Sambhutyam
Vairajasya Bhavatsutaha.
Vairajasya Bhavatsutta
Ajito Nama Bhagavan.
Ajito Nama Bhagavan
Amshena Jagatapatihi.
Amshena Jagatapati. In the sixth Manvantara millennium, Lord Vishnu, the master of the universe, appeared in his partial expansion. He was begotten by Vairaja in the womb of his wife Deva Sambhuti, and his name was Ajita.
So, during the sixth Manvantara, Lord Vishnu, the master of the universe, appeared in his expansion as Lord Ajita, begotten by Vairaja in the womb of his wife Devasambhuti. So, the Manvantara Avatara is Lord Ajita. His parents were Vairaja and Devasambhuti. So, what activities he performed? Payodimyena Nirmantya.
पयोदिम्येन निर्मन्त्य
Suranam Sadita Sudha.
सुराणां साधिता सुधा
Brahmamanombasi Drutaha.
ब्रह्ममानोऽम्बसीदृतः
Kurma Rupena Mandaraha.
Kurmarupena Mandara. By churning the ocean of milk, Ajita produced nectar for the Devatas. In the form of a tortoise, he moved here and there in the water, carrying on his back the great mountain known as Mandara.
So the different activities the Lord performed during the sixth Manvantara are mentioned. By churning the ocean of milk, Lord Ajita produced nectar for the Devatas. In the form of a tortoise Kurma, he moved here and there in the waters, carrying on his back the great mountain known as Matdara Parvata. So only two avatars are mentioned, but two more are there. He also appeared as the Dhanvantari, coming out of the ocean with the nectar part. He also appeared as Mohini Murti for the purpose of distributing the nectar to only Devatas. Like that, four forms he manifested here. He was Ajita only. He himself expanded as Kurma. He also appeared as Dhanvantari. He also appeared as Mohini Murti. So all these forms, all their activities are also the activities of corresponding Manvantara Avatara. So in that way. So now in this one verse there is wonderful description about Lord Arjita churning the milk ocean and producing nectar and also appearing as Kurma and moving here and there holding the Gandhara mountain on his back so that Samudra Manthan can take place. The entire event is mentioned in one shloka. But Parikshit Maharaj is not satisfied with hearing it very briefly. He want to know in detail. So he asked the questions in the next three verses. So we'll read the three verses and we'll stop for today. In the next class, we'll read the actual past time. What happened? Sri Rajo Vacha
Shri Rajovacha
Yata Bhagavata Brahman
Yatha Bhagavata Brahman
Matita Kshira Sagaraha
Atitaha Kshirasagarah
Yadartam Va Yataschadrim
Yadartham Vayataschadrim
Dadarambucharatmana
Dadharam Bhucharatmana
Yatamrutam Surai Praptam
Yathamritam Surai Praptam
Kimchanya Dabhavatataha
Kimchanyat Abhavat Tatah
Etad Bhagavata Karma
Etat Bhagavatah Karma
Vadasva Paramadbhutam
Vadasva Paramadbhutam.
Tasya
King,
one more verse.
yes, yes.
Taya Sankatyamanena
Vaya Sankatyamanena
Mahimna Satvatam Pate
Mahimna Satvatam Patehe
Nati Trupyati Me Chittam
Nati Trupyati Me Chittam
Suchiram Tapatapitam.
Ruchiram Tapatapitam. King Parikshit inquired, O great Brahmana, why did Lord Vishnu churn the ocean of milk? For what reason did he hold up Mandara mountain by his form as a turtle? How did the Devatas obtain the nectar, and what other things were produced from the churning of the ocean? Kindly describe all these wonderful activities of the Lord. My heart, long disturbed by the three miserable conditions of material life, is not yet satiated with hearing you describe the glorious activities of Lord, who is the master of the devotees.
So in the previous word, in the previous shloka, Sukadeva Goswami said, Lord churned milk ocean for producing nectar to the devatas, and also he became tortoise, kurma, and hold Mandara on his back. He was asking why? Why Lord had to churn the milk ocean? For what reason he had to held up the Mandara mountain on his back in the form of turtle? And why the devatas needed the nectar? And what are the other things were produced during the churning of the milk ocean other than along with the nectar? And kindly describe all these wonderful activities in detail. Don't tell me of because why? Taya Shankataya Manena Mahimna Satvatam Pate Na Atitripyati Me Chittam Suchiram Tapatapitam. See, my mind is so eager to hear about the Lord more and more. By hearing briefly, I am not completely satisfied. Otherwise, If I don't hear Krishna Katha, my mind only think about the dualities of this material world. Tapa tapitam. There are so many difficulties in the material world. If you don't hear Krishna Katha, our mind is always thinking about ye ho raha hai, wo ho raha hai, aisa ho raha hai, aisa ho raha hai. If we hear Krishna Katha, it will continuously dwell on the wonderful pastimes of Supreme Lord. So therefore, please continue to describe this pastime in detail. That is, by hearing such a detailed pastimes, I can become freed from the dualities of this material world. So that was the intention with which Parikshit Maharaj is asking for the elaboration of the pastime. From next verse onward, the pastime will be explained elaborately. So that we will discuss in the next class. So we'll stop here for today. Time okay. So any questions before closing the for day?
No, Prabhuji,
Hare
thank you.
Hare
No,
Krishna.
Prabhuji, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining. To all the devotees.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Shri